All right, back with another car from the Jeep Dodge DLC for Car Mechanic Sim, and this time we're going to be working on something a little different. This one's a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Can't talk today. SRT8. So yeah, it's kind of in rough shape here. So got our work cut out for us today. As you can see, it's missing quite a few parts. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, that takes care of the frame. And now we start in on the body. Start pulling everything off. Okay. Man, some of this stuff's in really rough shape. That come out? Does not. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay. I love how that's considered part of the body and not a removable panel. It is literally just floating there. I mean, seriously? Okay, alright. That's gonna float too. Okay. That should be at 1%. Yeah. Okay. Let's just move on. Try not to criticize it too much, I guess. Alright. Let's see. Man, my mouse is just messing up the. There we go. For some reason the sensitivity was super high. I was wondering what was going on there. Alright, let's look at sort by condition. And we'll just get rid of these because ew. Also, looks like we got a fair number of parts here that are 100%, so we'll go ahead and put those on, but we're going to just get rid of get rid of all of these. How about that? There we go. So we got both back doors, both front doors, a front right fender, front bumper, and the hatch. Okay. Assembly. We're just going to throw the ones we were able to fix on there. And then toss, well, we already did toss the rest. That. And we had right front fender, I believe. Yep. Alright, so now we're going to make a parts list here. So, bumper, both tail lights, got the window, mirror, and all the windows on this side. Got the mirror and all the windows on that side. So get the hood, fender, windshield. We need both headlights. And I think that'll be good for a first pass. So let's go ahead and get to the body shop here. And we'll just get our list here. Rear bumper, left tail light, And other left tail light. Got a right tail light. Yeah, trunk tail light. Back window. Side mirror. Okay, like I said, we're just going down the list here. Okay, next window. It should be the last one for the right side, and we do same thing for the left. Okay, just kind of already got the hood. Front left fender. Got our windshield. Okay, there's the first headlight and the other headlight. This should be everything. Let's go ahead and start putting things on. We'll get the tags later, after we get all the rest of the body put back on. All right. Looking pretty good here. Okay, so go to the plate shop. I'm just going to put the default plates on it. And let's do this that I've done for, unless I'm doing like a theme build, I have pretty much just used the same plate. Oh, maybe. I could spell. Hey, been that kind of a week. All right. Go. License plate on. Other plate on. Okay, body and frame are now 100%. And let's look at the interior. I can hit the right button. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all three of these because none of these are fixable. Right, so we do that. Bench seat in the back. Two front seats and a steering wheel. And back to normal mode. And we'll go to the interior shop. Bench seat. Got your two front seats. And fancy wheel. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong thing here. Bear with me. Go. Okay, body frame and interior are now 100%. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get this to where it's on its own wheels. It looks like we're okay on this side, but we're going to be missing, we're obviously missing rather, the other two wheels. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and fill out the suspension here. What are you missing? Quite a bit, it looks like. All right. You're missing like 3 rubber bushings. Rear suspension, upper arm. Rubber bushing for that. Another small rubber bushing. Oh yeah, we're gonna need to grab that, caliper. Okay, got cylinder for that. Another rubber bushing there. We're gonna need rear suspension arm. That's gonna need another regular bushing. And looks like we're missing a rear drive axle too. Okay, let's see where that gets us. So we'll just go to the parts store. 5 rubber bushings. Suspension arm. Another suspension arm. Okay, a couple small rubber bushings. Wave bar end link. New shock. Caliper. And the cylinder for the caliper. We got a suspension arm. And a drive axle. Alright, let's throw this together and see what we can do. Okay, let's also get that one bushing missing here. Might as well go ahead and get the rest of these. And yes, we'll be taking this apart soon enough, but like I said, I wanted to get the vehicle suspension fleshed out so it can be sitting on its own 4 wheels. Besides, what we buy now is that much less that we're going to have to buy, you know, later on. But we can't get to it from here. Because normally you do this with the car completely up in the air. Not this time. No, we're going to have to, but you know what I mean. I was trying to make a joke there, but it kind of fell flat. Move. Let's just humor the game. Move this thing. Alright. Try this again. Okay, guess we're buying another rubber bushing. Alright, let's check it over. Make sure we're not missing anything else. What about you? You mostly intact? Looks like it. Yeah, we're missing 2 rims and we're going to need all new tires. Okay. But before we do that, we need to find out what you're missing. So it looks like bottom suspension arm, 2 rubber bushings, an inner tie rod, upper suspension arm, 2 more rubber bushings, Alright, let's take a look here because, yeah, shock absorber, front spring, shock cap, and it looks like we're missing a end link. Do that. And you're going to be missing a rubber bushing, another rubber bushing, And another rubber bushing. Like I said, this thing is missing a lot of parts. Wasn't kidding. Alright. Let's go shopping again. We'll skip these two for now. Get a bottom suspension arm. 7 rubber bushings, because why not? We'll probably need an outer tie rod too. We'll get that here in a minute. Suspension arm. Okay, we've got the shock absorber. Part spring. And the shock cap. Sway bar end link. And outer tie rod. No, we'll need that. Before we get to that, let's get the rest of those rubber bushings that are missing over here. Come on. There you go. And I know I need to put that one assembly together. We'll get to that here in a minute. I can already hear somebody saying, you know, through the magic of the internet, that guy needs to do that one part. I guess we'll get to that one part. Come on, computer. It's like, nope, you can't install that. Alright. Looks like we're otherwise parts complete on that part of the suspension. Alright. So let's get these tires off. Come on. Alright. Now for the tires we do have, we need to take these guys apart and see if we could salvage the rims at least. We should be able to. Okay. Let's go see if we can fix them up. Yay, we can. Alright. So we'll save those two. Well, at least one of them, because I want to get the size off of them. So 305. Is this only running one size tire? Please tell me you are. Oh, thank God. 305/35. Alright. Right. So we have, oh yeah, it's already marked there, so I can get, I just go ahead. Sometimes I'll do this stuff and I'll forget that it shows the tire size in the shopping list. You think after, like, you know, 80 something episodes, I'd remember that stuff by now. But anyway, so let's go to the rim shop. These need to be, oh, these are 22s. These are big bastards. Okay. We need 2 of those, and it needs to be 22s. Probably some of the bigger tires that we've put on vehicles in this game. That should give us the 4 we need. So let's go to tires. And it wants a sport tire. and that is 305.35. 305.35. So 305.35 R22. 305.35 R22. Okay, so it's the correct size. I just wanted to make sure. I always get paranoid checking that stuff. Okay. Should be the last. Okay. All right, there's one. Okay, there's the second one. That one was easy. All right. So everybody's balanced. So now we can put them on, at least temporarily. We'll be taking these off anyway when we work on the suspension. For now, this is just so we can have it rolling on its own. I'm going to take this thing to the paint booth here in a minute. Okay. So let's drop this thing on its feet. Or I guess wheels in this case. Make sure it's not going to go on blocks. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by something for a second. Alright, so paint booth. Yes. Let's go. No liveries? Really? Wow, okay. I guess dealer's choice on colors then. Hmm. Most of the ones I've seen around here are either kind of a black tan or brown tints, so I think we're just gonna go with like the stereotypical kind of a darkish red color. Yeah, this'll do. There's people in my town that have them in this color. That's how common it is, and I live in a little small hick town. Okay, so everything's looking pretty sharp on the outside. Now we need to make sure it looks just as good, or runs just as good, I should say. As you can see, this engine's missing a few parts, and the engine compartment looks a little bare. So we're up to 30% parts condition, which is a step in the right direction. I mean, made it look just like the stock photo. Sweet. I was just moving something around on my desk. I realized I had my work machine mouse on the. Never mind. I had things set up. I was doing some work earlier, or was going to do some work earlier, and I vetoed it. But I guess I never moved anything around. So yeah, suspension. Let's get going. The tires are done. The body's done. The interior. Yeah, we're making progress. And just as we spent all that time getting the suspension put together, now it's time to take it all apart and clean the rest of it up. Get the tires off first. Otherwise, we're gonna not necessarily have a bad time, but well, since we're up here, I might as well go ahead and take the front apart first. Normally I go back to front, but I think we'll make an exception. Doesn't really matter as long as the job gets done. Okay. Just peel it one layer at a time here. Oh, come on. Alright, let's just work our way across here. There we go. These, oh shit, I forgot to take the drive shaft out. What was I going to say? I was going to mention something about one of the parts we were taking apart, but I can't remember what it was. That's okay. We'll fix what we can, replace what we can't. And with the suspension parts, I don't typically go for like performance stuff because we're not taking the stuff on the racetrack or anything. The only thing I typically try to splurge on the extras for is the engine itself. Come on, back up. There we go. Nope, nope. Come on, folks. Sometimes, you know, the camera is a boss in itself. Okay. And we're steadily winding our way down on these episodes, by the way. We've got, after this vehicle here, we've got about, oh, let's see, 2 more episodes of the Jeep Dodge DLC. And then we're on to the cab DLC. Once we get to the cab DLC, that's pretty much gonna be it for now, unless they come up with another DLC between now and the distant future. Although I did see some possible rumblings about a sequel or a follow-on game to this. I don't know if it's actually being worked on or not, but it'd be great to kind of get early access to it because I would love to do content for it. I know in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to, you know, streaming or making content for this game, I am nowhere near the top of the list. I'm pretty sure I'm like at the bottom at this point. because I would imagine people listening to me, because it is probably like probably one step above listening to Ben Stein talk about economics, even though he's an absolute expert on, well, not absolute, but he is an expert in that field. And all apologies to Ben Stein there, but I'm pretty sure he's not had that, or I'm not the first one to make that comparison. If you don't know who Ben Stein is, go look him up. Dude's funny as fuck too. Good deadpan humor. But anyway, yeah, I mean, if there's a new version of this coming out, and I hope there is, if what people were saying was true, yeah, dude, I'll be. This is probably going to be one of the provided, again, no major surprises or questionable decisions in terms of game design. Not that I'm an expert in that either, but like I say, barring any major minor incidences, this is probably going. The sequel game to this, or the follow-on game to this, is going to be more or less an insta-buy. And I don't say that about very many games anymore. And this is coming from someone who, bought collector's editions of most of the Fallout games for the last 15 years, 15-ish years. Let's see, 2008, 2018. So yeah, but thereabouts. I even attempted to buy a physical copy of Fallout 76. That's how dumb I was. Not the game itself was dumb, but if anybody's never seen this before, you could, when the game came out, buy a physical copy of Fallout 76. And when you got it, it came in a DVD case, like you would kind of expect. It's fine, like a lot of games do that. But when you open the bastard, there's a paper slip in there that gives you a key that says go download Steam, and then basically download the game. It's like, the frick? I figured it would be like, an actual copy. Maybe they'd actually make an attempt at make a cool box art. No. The game itself was fun, but yeah, I could make a whole separate video on that. And I doubt people would want to watch me play that. There's plenty of other content out there like that. I only do this because I like this game. Even so, I do want to expand to other content here one of these days. But that's an eventuality. Anyway, we got all the suspension off. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to separate the parts, but we're only going to separate this one for obvious reasons. Okay. Not that we could fix them in the first place. Those assemblies, you never could repair those. You end up having to buy all new anyway, so might as well just go ahead and take it apart. I'm sorry if I'm sniffling a lot. My sinuses are not having fun this year. Okay, we're just going to fix up as much of this as we can. We're going to have a bunch of wear parts that are not fixable, so it won't be 100%, but the more we fix, the less we have to buy. Oh, come on. This minigame is just tedious enough where if you're not careful, you can screw something up. But even if you screw something up in this game, it's not a huge deal, because unless you're just starting out on restoring cars in this game, you're going to have cash to buy all new stuff if you had to. I apologize if I was kind of quiet there at the beginning. I was still kind of, I guess, waking up from a nap. So, yeah. If anybody's still watching there, I'm just going to use that as an excuse. Ah, come on. There we go. Now imagine if I did most of this stuff on like Twitch or something and did it for long enough, I could probably come up with, you know, enough of a, you know, request to like say, hey, can I get early access to the new game if and when it comes out? But nah, I'm not even going to try, dude. No one's looking at this stuff. I mean, I had a couple of videos here recently in the last month or so that, because I try to do about one video a week, and I've had a few go above a few dozen views, but most of them get single digits. So I'm just in this for the fun. It's not like I'm going to all of a sudden go viral or anything for any good reason. Anyway, enough ranting. Let's take a look at where we're at here. Okay, so we're mostly into page 4 before we get to stuff that's below 100%. Oh, right. I forgot to resurface the brake discs. Boop, boop. All right, let's let these go. But like I said, I do want to eventually branch out into doing other content. I think I've mentioned on like previous videos where it's like there's a Minecraft server I want to rejoin, start doing some updates to some of my existing builds and or doing new builds rather. And I have still have that pile of indie games on itch.io that are walking simulators that I want to review. I wanted to kind of do like this, give it 20 minutes and I'll give an honest review of the content. And yes, I know that a lot of them are going to be boring. It's just going to be like, oh my god, we're just going around looking at things. And like, yeah, not every game has to have shooty, bang, bang action, you know? Some people do this stuff as like an expression of an idea or a concept. It's like staring at art. Some people say that's not art, you know? Well, to some it is, but you can argue that all day long. And there are people that have much better, you know, knowledge of art than I do that could argue that stuff all day long. Me, it's just like, yeah. Then again, I'm the kind of guy that thinks somebody taping a banana to a wall is not art, but that's, you know, again, my opinion. But yeah, plenty of good stuff on itch.io that I want to go over. Now that I've actually got, thank God for the Stream Deck, I can finally control my audio levels a little bit better, so I can actually play some of those that don't have volume controls without deafening the listener or the watcher, you know, because some of that stuff when I was trying to do some initial test recordings, you couldn't hear me over the noise in the game. And now, like I said, Stream Deck lets me have push button access to everything in terms of fussing with the audio levels of what I hear versus what you're going to hear. And if you don't have one of those, I recommend it. Even if you don't stream or don't do YouTube content, Stream Deck stuff is still good for like if you do meetings and such. You can install this thing, have all your fucking applications on it, and no, I'm not sponsored by them. I wish I was, but I'm not popular enough to get sponsored. But these darn things are handy. They're definitely worth their weight in salt there, so to speak. Right, so should be in a little better shape here this time. Yeah, about where we were, except we have a few more parts that are green, 100%, as we managed to resurface all the brake discs while I was busy ranting and sounding like an absolute chill. But seriously, if any of those companies that I mentioned want to sponsor me, I'm not doing much else at the moment except working my ass off on my normal day job. So yeah, looks like we're okay. A lot of wear items. So let's make a shopping list. And there we go. We're going to sell parts we don't want. Looks like we're good. Let's go shop. Okay, we're just going to do the same thing we did last time, except we're going to do it even harder. So rubber bushings, do shock caps, couple of springs, got an end link, 4 wheel hub bearings, got a front spring, sway bar end link. Come on, there we go. 5 more rubber bushings, full set of brake pads. Okay, wishbone shock, rear shock, outer tie rod. Okay, there's our rear sway bar. Try to say it 20 times fast. Okay, shock cap. There's the other sway bar. And the inner tie rod to finish things off. Okay, first things first. Get that other assembly put together. There we go. I'm going to do the back this time. Alright. Get the sway bar put in, steer, or get the axle knuckle thing, whatever the heck it's called. Go. Okay. Put her in layered on one part at a time. That made total sense. Coming together nicely. Okay, get the brakes put on. Just want to make sure we got everything else here. Throw a tire on for good measure, and we're going to flip over to the other side and do the same. We're not going to put the drive shaft back on because we're going to be taking the engine out here in the near future, so no point in putting that in. Come on. Trying to click on things and it just doesn't register. My mouse is starting to mess up. And that suspension's looking much better. Almost forgot the rubber bushings. I'm sitting there going, this is going smoothly. What am I forgetting? And it's like, oh yeah. There we go. That's the stuff. Make sure we got everything else here. Looks like we're looks like we're pretty good shape here, so Let's go ahead and put the tire on, and then we'll move on to the front. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, let's just get the stuff here in the middle first. Then we'll work on one side then the other to, you know, finish the assembly. All right, we're getting there. Looking pretty good. All right, let's back up, take a quick look, make sure we're not missing anything else. Looks like we're set. All right, let's finish this up on this side and then we can move on. I think after we take care of this, we'll do the, probably end up doing the fuel and exhaust. And then focus on the engine and the engine compartment, and then we should be able to just, you know, do the alignment, do the dyno, and then get this thing on the speed track like we usually do. So those who haven't watched these videos before, welcome. That's typically how I do most of these videos. We do like the stuff like the dyno and the speed track stuff just to kind of see, you know, what kind of power numbers we get and how, you know, hard we can push the vehicle speed, or basically speed wise. We don't even bother with the racetrack. Maybe if I decide to do another playthrough, maybe I consider trying to do the speed track stuff, but not on this run. All right, let's take a look. So we just have the drive shaft. So that is suspension done. We're up to 43% parts condition. That engine's probably dragging that number down quite a bit. So let's go ahead and get back up here because I want to grab the fuel tank. We got like 2 rear mufflers, 2 exhaust pipes, 2 middle mufflers, aka resonators, and 2 catalytic converters. And then we got the front exhaust sections. The starter we can grab later. Not too concerned with that. Could probably go ahead and get the front drive shaft. Screw it. Let's go ahead and get the starter. On second thought. Okay, so the exhaust stuff I know is mostly performance parts, so we'll need 2 rear mufflers, okay, 2 exhaust pipe Bs, a couple of middle mufflers, 2 catalytic converters, And 2 front exhaust sections. The your search fuel pump. There we go. The fuel pump I know is a performance part. So let's go back over to the regular car parts section. We'll get a fuel tank. Front drive shaft, yes please. And starters, obviously an electrical part. Get that. Leave that off since we're going to be taking that off here in a couple minutes anyway. Same thing for the front drive shaft. There's no sense putting that on when we're going to take the engine out here momentarily. Nice. All right, so that's the fuel and exhaust done. Sorry, my chair keeps falling apart here. Okay, let's 48, getting close to the halfway mark. And get me back up here, please. Okay. We're gonna pull the transfer case. I don't think there's any worry about engine fluids. Normally we'd safe the engine by taking all the fluids out and whatnot, but something tells me, I'm no expert on I'm not a mechanic by trade, but something tells me that we don't have to worry about that. Call it a hunch. All right. I do want to check something real quick, and I don't think these are going to be performance parts, but sometimes, every once in a while, we find a vehicle that is, yeah, okay, I didn't think so. But every once in a while, we get a vehicle in here that has a performance gearbox. Actually, hang on. Hang on. One other place I want to check. And I know some people are like, freaking finally! Okay, no transfer case. Oh. Looking in the wrong spot. Somebody finally clued me in on that. So we got that to get rid of. Although, again, this is probably why I don't go looking for it too hard, because it's a 1% increase in performance. Not exactly going to be, tearing ass at the speed track with that, or the drag racing with it, so, but still, every little bit counts. I was looking in the performance shop thinking, hey, it's going to be in there, and then I realized there's a separate shop for gearboxes, and kind of felt stupid, but hey, you learn. All right, so all of this is staying out till we get the engine redone, which is going to be up next. Go get the cherry picker. Get this thing out. Boop, boop. All right. Out it comes. That's one thing I wish you could do in this game is jump. I never understood why they locked it down to where you can't jump. I realize that's not a hugely important thing. But like, you're just sitting there going, trying to hit the space bar and it, nothing happens. But minor nitpick. Yeah. So there she is. That's literally, for those who weren't paying attention earlier. This is all there is. Yeah. normally for an engine that's going to be parts complete, uh, we would normally just rip this thing down to the engine block and the crankshaft, fix both of them, and uh, take that parts list and get as many performance parts as we can. We pulled a grand total of what, 5 parts off this thing? If that. So yeah, we're going to have to do this one a little bit different. Little bit. I mean, we could even do this and go look for, just on the off chance it was, there, performance crankshaft, because why the heck not? Alright, so I'm just gonna, like, do that. We're just gonna start from scratch. Just an engine block and a crankshaft in a dream. So, a fuel filter, oil filter, alternator. And looks like we've got the alternator. We do the camshaft. Looks like 3 crankshaft bearing caps. 8 pistons with connecting rod. And almost without exception, these engines have been using the standard piston rings, so we'll add those to the list, and we'll need the piston, or the caps for the piston and connecting rod. We'll get that when we go shopping. For now, go here. We know at least some of this stuff is we already looked at that. I forgot to clean that off. So we'll grab the fuel filter. Oil filter's never a performance part, but I always look every once in a while, just in case. Camshaft. Yep. Right, that's in the normal shop. There we go. Okay. Then you go back to the performance shop and get... Actually, I can get the oil filter while I'm here. Go. I forgot that the pistons are a performance part. We'll get 8 of those. We go back here and get piston rings. It says V8 Hemi. I just noticed that, so we'll take a risk on those. Worst case, if it doesn't use them, we'll how did I not mark you? Doesn't matter. We'll come back for it. I must have forgot to mark it. Wow, hey, we hit level 50. Nice. And we got the Achievo finally. Neat. Alright, so get these crankshaft bearing caps put in at least. Yeah, I forgot the piston caps too, but alright. We're not in a race. Alright, let's take a looky here. Okay, so I did guess correctly. I figured when that one said Hemi, and this has a Hemi engine in it, that we're going with that and not the standard generic piston rings. Alright, what else we got? That's it there, so let's make another inventory. Flywheel, engine head A, engine head B. We've got eight of the caps. Got cam gear. I think that's it. Wait, did we get the flywheel? Thank God. Feel dumb for missing that, like not once but twice, but like 2-3 times. Okay, flywheel. You. Engine head A. Engine head B. Rod caps are not there. Cam gears. Okay, those are in the other shop. Pretty sure. There we go. Gonna work our way up the middle. And with a gearbox that big, we're gonna be able to, between this and the stuff we're putting on the engine, this thing should be able to tow a good sized camper. Oh boy, okay. So no bolts, just shitload of push rods. Okay. And I cussed, therefore demonetized. Okay. Let's make our next round of parts, our next part list here. I swear at one time I used to be able to talk. Then I got older. So timing chain. Like we're gonna need intake manifold and 16 push rods. And we're probably gonna need rockers as well. But let's see what all we could find in here. Clutch plate. That's an obvious performance part. Exhaust manifolds. There we go. Oil pan's not. Timing chain's not. Intake manifold is. Get that. Let's see. Clear search. So here, we're back to just getting normal parts. Those 16 push rods. V8 OHVF. Okay. You know what? Let's put this thing together first, and then we'll double check, make sure which ones it actually uses. These things are kind of finicky to put in, only because their hitbox is so small. Could make this a little easier on myself and actually put the oil pan on so I could straighten the engine out. There we go. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was using individual rocker arms, if it's just going to use this, fancier parts there, but it's looking like it's using a custom part, which not surprising given that this is a Hemi. Let's see, how do we want to attack this? Let's go pressure plate. Oh, it's just one big assembly. Okay, that's good. Fuel rail, the other fuel rail. Looks like we've got a throttle. Okay, we already got that. We got the timing cover. All right. Let's go here, see if any of this is, yeah. That, we got the throttle. 2 fuel rails. Boop. Yeah, rock arms are not. Timing cover's not. Okay, so we'll head over here. Yeah, this engine's coming along nicely now. I've seen some generic V8s to do the push rods and then they do the individual cam, or they're not cams, individual rocker arms, individual push rods is what I meant to say. There we go. Okay, let's go up front. Put that timing cover on. And the throttle. Okay, so that's it on that round. Let's start from the back here. We got the clutch release bearing. Like we got both engine covers. And roller, water pump, another roller, pulley, and a power steering pump. All right, let's go and go forth and buy stuff. There we go. Head covers are not performance parts. Rollers are not. Water pump. Yeah, I didn't think so. Pulley. Like the only thing here that's a performance part is the power steering. Given how big this thing is, I'm not surprised. A head cover A. A head cover B. Couple of rollers for good measure. Brand new water pump. All right. He's on first. All right. The other side. Probably going to be using some kind of weird coil pack configuration. All right. Got the clutch parts in. There's a chunky boy engine here compared to some of the stuff we were working on before. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So that's it on those parts. Now we can order the next round, which we should be getting pretty darn close. Right. So, our pump pulley. Okay, we've got a serpentine belt. Go. Got a rock, or not rock arm. Yeah, rock arms on the brain. Belt tensioner. Good lord. Hell, I'm airheaded today. What the hell? Wait, I thought we were going to be putting some stuff up. Oh, up. Oh, okay. I thought we were going to put. Okay, we almost missed that. Almost missed that. Good thing I just happened to look. This is why you gotta be careful. There's been cars and other DLCs where we've run into something like this where the spark plugs are, let's just say, hard to get to. I was right on the frickin' ignition coil stuff, but we'll get the ignition coils here in a sec. Yeah, I've had them on builds. If you go into like some of the early videos in this series, we've actually had some DLCs where the spark plugs were in like, you're sitting there going, why can't I put the rest of these parts on? And you're like, oh wait. Let's see, these might be, yeah, they are. I was hoping they were a performance part. There we go. There we go. Okay. Get you installed. Yep. Get on there. 392 Hemi. Yeah, buddy. These are decorative, so I doubt they're performance parts. Because you gotta know how big an engine you got right on the engine. So, all right, now I think that we're done. That's a big bastard there. Look at that. Compared to how the thing looked when we started, yeah. Absolute badass. Anyway, let's get you off there. Back in the vehicle where it belongs. Okay, let's check everything, make sure we're not missing anything. Everything's green. No missing parts. Good to go. That's pretty. Alright. Oh, right, we need to put the other stuff on. Before we focus on the engine compartment, we got to put the rest of the drivetrain together. Get up there. Thank you. Man, the gearbox on this thing is about as big as the engine. Holy smokes. There you go. Drivetrain's complete. Now we can focus on the engine compartment. Okay. I'm gonna work our way around here. Okay, so what do we got? A little bit of everything. So let's go electronics first. Okay, get a brand new battery. Fuse box. fuse box. We'll get the cover, and then there we got the ECU and ABS. Let's go ahead and get the module too. The rest of this can be purchased from the normal parts store. So get the reservoir, brand new radiator, brand new brake servo, as they call it, I guess. Okay, filter base. Yeah, we'll search for it later. It's no big deal. We can do it layer by layer, like we've been doing. Okay, fuse box cover, that's going to come later. Let's go ahead and get the fuses while we're staring at this thing. Okay, good there. Get the filter. Fan housing. This fan housing B, so we'll probably need fan B to go along with that. The filter is obviously going to be a performance part. Oh, I didn't want it back completely out. No need for that. Okay. So, performance parts. Right. So, we get the non-electrical stuff first. So, housing B. Right, it does need both fans. Okay. I didn't see the second one down there. Right. Come on, computer. Shopping list. Cover. Probably gonna need clips, so we'll do that too. Yep. Of course, it's either A or B. Okay, so they're all clip A's. Okay. So, what are we? Sorry, just having a bit of a brain fart there, that's all. Alright, so let's go back here. Clip A, we need 4 of those. Okay. Filter cover. Fan housing B's done. I guess it's just down to getting the fuses, and those are all in the electronics section here. So fuse type C, 2 fuse type B's. 3 fuse type A's, 2 relay B's, 2 relay type A's, and 4 relay type C's. Alrighty. Get these little fiddly bits on first. Put this fuse boxes back together here, and then we should be pretty much done except for the fluids. Alright, that's all we have on parts. So, let's top everything off. Alright, let's do... And that oil cap's buried in there. Now, for those who haven't seen these videos before, I do tend to overfill the power steering, chiefly because it complains if you don't have it full enough, and normally you would stop when the container tilts. But unless they've patched it, which they may or may not have, I end up having to overfill it to get it to think that it's full. A weird quirk, but yeah, it's fine. Not a huge deal. I think should be all of it. Yep, 100% all around. Drop her down. Take her over to the alignment rack. Man, those back tires were looking both ways down the street. Go. Let's do the other one. Okay. Everything's straightened out, so let's get you to the dyno room and let's go see what our numbers look like. Yes, I do. Alright, 469 horsepower. That's pretty impressive from the factory. And 461 pound-feet of torque. See what we end up with here. Damn. I'm actually impressed. 855 horsepower for a gain of 386. 805 pound-feet of torque for a gain of 344. That's actually, yeah, that's pretty darn good. That's better than I thought it was going to be for this thing. Most SUVs you see this size, yeah, getting 850 horsepower out of it, no. Meanwhile, Jeep went hold my beer. Okay, so let's take some pictures. Okay, that's going to be a thumbnail. And that's going to be for posterity. There we go. Speed track, please. Oh god, I have a feeling this one's going to be all over the road. I really should have my controller hooked up for this. God, listen to that deep rumble. That's just nuts. Alright, everybody buckled in? Alright, let's go. Solid start, no squeaking the wheels. We're already up over 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, right on the nose. Okay, I'm impressed. I was giving this vehicle some shit at the beginning because it kind of looked like a soccer mom car, which again, nothing wrong with that necessarily. But this thing's got some serious pep to it. All right, let's go talk numbers here. So, you can see where the parts, body, performance, and condition bonus, how that all factors in. We bought it for $25,124, and we're selling it for $149,376 for a profit of $124,252. I'd say we got our money back and then some. Just saying. Just saying. Sell that bad boy. All right. That one actually turned out to be a much more fun build than I anticipated. It was a bit more work because the vehicle is missing like half its parts, but overall I think it went pretty well. And now we're going to do some quick maintenance here. I'm going to show you guys some previews here. Let's see, we got a Dodge Ram 3500, big honkin' truck here. That's going to go into Bay 1. That's going to be the next episode. I know people around here, not personally, but I know of them. I've seen them around here with driving these big guys. Yeah, turns like a semi, but... And then we have the, I think it's a 1500 Yellow Sport. These two are going to be pretty much just take them apart, breathe on them, and sell them. Put them back together and sell them. Yeah, two big guys here. Very expensive trucks. I've driven the last one of these I drove was actually a 2011, and it wasn't a crew cab. It was like the next size down. My dad used to have a silver 1500. Not too different from this, except like I said, it wasn't the crew cab. The crew cabs ones have the front and back that are almost the doors that are almost the same size. The one my dad had, the one with the back door was a lot smaller, like right about there maybe. So yeah, mostly complete, and of course they both have rather big honkin' Hemis in them. just like nature intended. But anyway, so those two, once we get them done, that's going to be it for the Jeep Dodge DLC, which I have had a pretty good amount of fun putting these builds together. So, actually, I'm in the wrong menu here. I want to go to parking because now we're at the, well, 3 episodes from now, we're going to be doing the cab DLC. And we're going to start out with one of the most stereotypical American cabs in the last several decades. So we'll grab this and move it to garage. I remember to... Nope, I didn't. Oh well, I'll clean it off camera. But yeah, it's already got the little lights and everything, and all we gotta do is fix her up and give her a... We'll probably keep that same paint job. Metro Cabs, I think is what that says. Oh, it's freaking dirty. Oh yeah, I'll get her cleaned up. It looks mostly complete. We may do this, or we may go with the stock orangish yellow paint job, like you would see for most cabs, or at least used to anyway. I think you still do in some areas, but I don't know. Anyway, so let's move you over here. There we go. Yeah, I'll get her cleaned up off camera, inside and out. Get it ready for the future here. And as you see, we had all the other cab cars that are going to be very different from this one in the parking area. So, yeah. And once we get done with this, I'm probably going to end up starting to do some other video content for other games. I'm not quite sure what exactly I want to do yet. I still want to kind of go the HIO route, but that's going to be a lot of short form stuff. So if I do those, you might maybe see more than one video a week, because those will just be quick and dirty 20-minute like one take videos. I'll figure something out. You'll see. Just keep an eye on the channel. And with that, I turn y'all loose. Appreciate you watching, if indeed you still are, and I will see you later.